Welcome to Inside Auto Podcast, where we feature everyone and anyone you'd want to talk to in and out of the automotive industry.
Ilana Shabtai here, co-host of Inside Auto Podcast. I have with me Aharon Horwitz, also co-host of Inside Auto Podcast, where we feature top leaders inside and outside the auto industry. Past guests and clients include pro basketball, football, and baseball stars that own and operate fleets of car dealerships. Before we introduce our guest, I'd like to tell you that this episode is brought to you by AutoLeadStar. AutoLeadStar is pioneering smart marketing automation in the automotive industry. Built by top-tier engineers and data scientists, AutoLeadStar's sophisticated machine learning future-proofs dealerships' marketing operations and replaces traditional marketing methods with automation. We've been featured in over 10 auto publications, including Dealer Magazine, Auto Dealer Today, and Car Biz Today, and we work with more than 30 OEM brands.
That's awesome. Ilana, we sound awesome, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I am super excited for today's guest because this is a person who combines personality and professionalism and just incredible knowledge about the vehicle, but also the industry, and is someone who, I think has taught us a lot in our journey through auto. Not always about cars, also about food, let's be honest. And
that is true. Sushi,
yeah,
be exact.
That's true. I don't think I think we, in our team, we have a lot of knowledge about drinks and other sorts of things. So we're okay. We hold our own sometimes. But let me, with no further ado, because we could ado for a while about this. I want to introduce Marat Pashkevitz. Marat is the digital business consultant for Porsche Cars North America at Shift Digital. So he works with Porsche out of Shift, which manages the Porsche digital program. He partners with over 50 dealers in 5 different regions, so he sees a pretty broad cross-section of the United States, and he supports digital innovation and excellence with those dealers. Marat has over 17 years of experience in luxury, automotive, and motorsports, and we're just super excited to have him with us here today. Marat, welcome.
Thank you so much, Aharon.
Yeah.
What a great intro. I'm humbled. And excited to discuss, the automotive industry, technology, where things are going.
So Marat, we're going to ask you about how you got into auto, but what vehicle is on your wall back there?
I've got a GT2 RS in acid green, and then and that stems from my childhood. The 911 is just a pinnacle vehicle, and then I also have a CLK GTR Super Sport, which is incredibly rare, another favorite of mine.
And why are those near and dear to you? Like what calls you from those vehicles?
The GT2 RS, I mean, that's the halo car for Porsche, right? Aside from the 918, and just the engineering of the vehicle, it's over-engineered. I mean, the thing is a jet fighter, right? And what's beautiful about it is you can take it to the grocery store, and then you can also take it to the Nürburgring, set a lap record, a world lap record, and drive it back home in luxury and comfort with the AC blowing. I love it. Everything about that car, it still has the lines of the original 911, and obviously it's a beautiful interpretation of the evolution of our company, right? And the CLK GTR, the SS, I mean, it was originally a FIA race car, right? That was homologated just for regulation purposes. They had to make 25 road-going versions of the vehicle. That artwork back there actually has the road-going and race car kind of flipped, which is really, really cool. And it's an incredibly unique vehicle. It's got one of the most beautiful sounding V12 engines that any manufacturer has built. It's just wild. It's really one off. So.
Love it. You relate to cars like poetry. It's incredible. Very nice.
This is why Marat made fun of me so much when I told him I wanted to get a Buick Encore. as my next vehicle.
Oh yeah, no, that was nuts.
The South Florida Mommobile. Yeah, it's we have Cayennes for that.
But you feel it. I mean, that acid green Porsche is a nice looking vehicle back there. Okay, so Marat, tell us how you got here. Meaning you are running essentially kind of retail innovation in some ways. Meaning is you are evangelizing digital transformation for 50 dealers of probably the most successful luxury vehicle in the United States. Meaning something that's both somehow straddles that mass market, but also maintains its luxury kind of feel, similar almost like to an Apple in certain ways. How did you end up in this business and in this role? Tell us about your journey a bit.
Yeah, I mean, my passion for automotive started in our journey from the Soviet Union to the United States. And part of that was a brief stay in Italy, where I laid eyes on my first Ferrari, right? And it captivated me. And, just growing up, I've always been around cars, even though my family wasn't really into it, aside from my grandfather back in the Soviet Union. But in any case, my first job at 15 was working in a race shop in Dallas, Georgia, where I was very hands-on. I was big into drifting. I wanted to build my own race car. And so I just started learning. And I realized that—
Educate us, those of us who do not know what drifting is. What is it?
So it is. It comes really from Japan. It's a form of racing where you slide your car sideways through turns, right? So it's not more about time. It's more about finesse, right? And going through a corner and hitting the apex with the nose of the car, completely sideways. So
you were doing this. You were driving vehicles and doing this type of racing.
Yeah, my first car.
Every
92 Nissan 240 SX, a coupe, and a gunmetal color that I think I kept stock for all about 2 weeks. Then I pulled the motor out and started modifying the suspension and the turbos. And anyway, yeah, it was that's really what got me started. Is building those kind of cars, being hands-on, super exciting. But I've always had, my parents telling me, hey, you should look at the business side of things. Obviously, looking forward to college as well. And I knew that I wanted to be on the business side of automotive. So worked with several different performance shops in Atlanta, oversaw e-commerce and marketing for them. And, just grew from there. I had a great opportunity to work with Mercedes-AMG right out of college, overseeing global digital content and running the AMG Private Lounge, which at the time was the largest owners-only online community. So that was great, and decided that I wanted to take a next step in my career, and was on LinkedIn one day and saw this phenomenal opportunity with Porsche and Shift. And who doesn't want to work for the best sports car manufacturer in the world, right? It was always a dream. And interestingly enough, I had some opportunities to interview at Porsche. Unfortunately, I didn't get those back in the day. But once you enter Porsche headquarters in Atlanta, you realize that that energy, right? You want to be a part of that. They built it. It's like a museum. There's no other brand that you want to work for. And even though I got turned down for those opportunities, I think I found the right one, doing what I do, loving to travel and interact with people, new people on a daily basis. And I landed this role with Shift Digital. We have a phenomenal team. I think 5 of the top guys in automotive. We truly are subject matter experts in digital, specifically to premium automotive as well. And so actually in 2 days, it'll be 3 years.
Wow. Marat, let me ask, is it common to have such extensive knowledge of both the digital marketing side, the kind of digitization side, and also the vehicle platform? Or is that sort of a unique blend that emerged from just your passion as a young person for vehicles?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is pretty unique. You see it a lot more now with the younger demographic in this workplace, in the workforce, in this industry. But I think traditionally, you're kind of either automotive or tech or marketing, right? And there wasn't really this culmination of all of them. But besides, being a gearhead, I'm a huge tech nerd. So I'm always learning, what the latest and greatest is, whether it's, AI, machine learning, marketing automation tools, whatever it might be. And that stems from, again, just my passion for technology. I used to build computers, back in my early teens. So that also evolved. And then I learned how to code in C++ and VB6 and HTML. So,
and when you approach your dealers today, kind of, let's say you've been doing this for 3 years. Take us on kind of the attitude evolution, which I'm assuming may have existed over the past 3 years, to some of the things that you're talking about when it comes to somehow implementing the tools that make use of the things you just mentioned, the types of technologies. Like, what's happened, since 17, let's say.
Yeah. This, and when it started in 2017, this was a brand new program. Porsche didn't have this. And obviously Shift Digital has been around with other manufacturers. And this program is incredibly unique because we do have so many touch points. We oversee so many parts of digital business, whereas some of the other teams might just focus on after sales or the lead generation process. So coming in and talking to Porsche dealers, I don't think they had a grasp of what they should be doing, what their agencies should be doing, what kind of technology should be in place, how they should be managing their CRMs, what their CRMs are even capable of doing, in terms of providing data to make better decisions, whether marketing decisions, outreach decisions, whatever it was, in their next steps. So it was really eye-opening. I think dealers oftentimes, they're focused on selling cars. That's their primary reason for being in that store. They're not marketing experts, right? They're not data scientists. So we come in, we make sense of the data for them. We educate them as to what clean data looks like and what the end result can be with that data. So it's definitely evolved. I mean, we talked about basic website UX in the very beginning. And then, we got into advanced paid social media campaigns, what that looks like, and what kind of content they should be creating. And we take the data from those first campaigns and we say, okay, this worked, this didn't work. Let's optimize, let's move forward, let's take the next step. We look at paid search, and, that's kind of where you guys came into play. And, using your tool, to automate the entire marketing process. I mean, that was huge for the dealers that are using it currently. We looked at what other agencies were providing our dealers, and if that was effective. It's a constant evolution. We've implemented new CRMs like DriveCentric, which was built around video, and so it's grown from the very, very, very basics of Website 101 and how to optimize that experience for the buyer, all the way to how to communicate properly now in a time where people are more weary about leaving their home. And that process is now built around video for our dealers.
And Porsche is such a visual brand. How does that play into the marketing for Porsche, if it does at all?
I mean, we have the best looking cars in the world, right? And we have to represent it in a way that I feel like everybody should fall in love when they see a Porsche, right? So, aside from our tier 1 campaigns that come from corporate, I think it's important for dealers to kind of differentiate and tell their own story of Porsche within their demographic, within their own ecosystem. So why a Porsche of Jacksonville might be different from a Porsche of Orlando, right? So for us, I think that storytelling through video has really taken off. And I'm a huge fan of all of our imagery, of course, but that imagery doesn't paint a clear picture sometimes of what our cars are capable of, or how well they are built, or some of the technology now built around. So hopefully that answers that question.
And Marat, just following up on that, are you, I guess, how do you communicate to dealers, or what's your kind of go-to to them when you talk about how they should take that next step, or what should be their major, focus for this new era? I guess, like, if you were going to give us your go-to piece of advice when you walk in any one of those 50 stores, obviously it's going to be different, but when you kind of either start them or help shepherd them on that journey, what's that go-to piece of advice, on how they should be setting themselves up and what they should pay attention to, where they should invest? Not about a specific vendor, but about kind of the direction of where things need to go.
First and foremost, I want to start off with an extremely key piece of advice for any consultant or anybody walking into a dealer and trying to work with their management teams or executive teams of these large automotive groups. You want to build a relationship with them and build trust prior to even talking business. And I think that's something that's often very forgotten in this industry because dealers see so many vendors come in and so many consultants and advisors. You should do this, you should do that. Build rapport first. But they have so much data, right? They have data from their CRM. They have data from the OEM that the OEM provides them. They have data from agencies. Making that data easily digestible and helping the dealer walk them through it. Why is this important? Why does it make sense, right? And what areas of business do we apply this to, right? What technology do we need to bring in, right, to take this data and maximize ROI with it, right? So for instance, we have some really great reporting from our side that shows all leads that dealers work, and then other Porsche dealers that basically conquer those leads. So why did, for instance, a customer in Jacksonville send a lead in and that deal was taken over and the person bought in Orlando? Right? Where was the downfall in communication? I can tell a dealer how many deals they lose within a month, within a week, within a quarter. We can break down the process. And I'll tell you an excellent example is my dealer in New Orleans who, a few years ago, they were losing maybe close to 70% of their deals to other dealers. And we were able to look at the process. We were able to see the downfall in communication and follow-up, recommend a new CRM, recommend some video technology. And within half a year, we pulled all that back, right? And they've become incredibly successful. And that technology has grown for us now. And it's a common recommendation now that we make to our dealers.
Got it. Very nice. And Marat, just to kind of wrap us up, you're looking at the landscape, don't reveal any trade secrets here, but kind of maybe if you could just just pick one interesting thing. What's one of the most innovative, even futuristic ideas that maybe no dealer is yet willing to implement, but you're seeing it emerging down the road and you think it might be something that people should be paying attention to? New technology, new idea, new concept, new marketing model. I mean, you've privately described to me some really awesome just concepts from the tech world that you've seen that you're in love with. But is there something that you feel like, oh, this actually might be a thing in 3-4 years?
Yeah, I think again, it's a multitude of things that's going to be bundled into one. I think the automation process, whether starting from the marketing, but also going into the buying experience. I think everybody wants that Amazon approach. The quick and easy way of purchasing a vehicle and no longer spending 4 hours on it. But I think most importantly is the entire experience from a brand perspective, right? I want to fall in love with the brand, not just with the car, but then what the buying experience looks like. And in my opinion, I think augmented reality mixed in with virtual reality and then just video technology in general is where it's at next. So, me being able to sit in my house and then a sales ambassador halfway across the world, maybe in Germany, being present via avatar in my living room, right, or in my boardroom, wherever I may be, along with a one-to-one 3D render of a car that I can manipulate in 360 and build out together with somebody. That's a hell of an experience, right? Not just
have you seen that yourself? Have you experienced that at that level?
I've experienced that for myself, and it's an incredibly amazing experience to see. You can take a 1/14 scale model, right, and then blow it up in your living room to a 1:1 model of a GT2 RS, and then have a color palette and a palette for your interior, and start building out a custom car like you would see in a showroom, but it's sitting here in your office. I think that's incredibly wild. I definitely see that as a future. People that we've talked to, from a customer perspective, have oohed and awed about it and asked when that's coming around. So I definitely think that that should be a major technology piece in the process in the future. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, also entrepreneurs, if you're listening, you just
yes,
that was an invitation for some pictures. So listen, covering from drift racing all the way to guiding the digital future of an iconic brand. We were very excited to talk to Marat Pashkevich and really get some insight into who he is and kind of what he thinks. Ilana, I think we're going to wrap with that, right?
Yeah, thank you so much, Marat. It was a really interesting episode, and we're so excited to have interviewed you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Very much.
It's a great opportunity. I really appreciate it, guys.
All right, Marat. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Inside Auto Podcast. Check out our other episodes with top entrepreneurs and industry leaders.